Hey, Grindstone Church. Today is the last day of our devotional series of the Road to Calvary. And since we've been doing this devotional series, what we've also been doing is these little kids' activities where we do like a drawing or an emblem of what the lesson was about. And so what we wanted to do is that while it's still all hanging out together, somewhat tentatively, is we wanted to show you what the whole Road to Calvary looks like. Because on our last devotional, we talked about the cross that was coming ahead for Jesus' death. But what we're looking at today, since it's Holy Saturday, the Saturday of Easter weekend, is we're going to be looking at the tomb, at the cave. So this is what the whole thing looks like. It's a great activity to do with your kids year in, year out, to kind of track and show them what the whole Easter story is about. So we just wanted to show you what it all looks like when it all looks the way that it's supposed to. So be encouraged. If you want ideas on how to make this, we can totally send you guys this activity so you can make it with your own kids. And again, thanks again to Mike and Mandy Shank for giving us the board for this, because we were all isolated and couldn't get to any stores for it. So thank you guys. Well, our devotional for today, as I said before, is for Holy Saturday. This is kind of the in-between day of Easter weekend. And while we talk a lot about Good Friday and Easter Sunday, understandably so, Holy Saturday holds a very significant moment in this story as well too. And it helps us to not run completely past what is happening on this day of stillness, this day of disappointment for Jesus' followers as well too. So let's pick up the story where we left off in Matthew chapter 27, verses 57 through 66. As the evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who had himself become a disciple of Jesus. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered that it be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of the rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting there on the outside of the tomb. The next day, the one after preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees went to Pilate. "Sir," they said, "we remember that while he was still alive, that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise again.' So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal the body and tell the people that he had been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first." "Take a guard," Pilate answered. "Go make the tomb as secure as you know how." So they went and made the tomb secure by putting a seal on the stone and posting the guard. You know, after Jesus has been crucified, his body needs to be buried. And at this point in the story, all of Jesus' disciples have fled. They're sitting in hiding. His friends are gone. Another reflection of how he has been alone through so much of this whole situation. So it's almost like this little question comes up. Who's going to put Jesus in his tomb? There's not really anybody who we're familiar with, anybody that we really know about, who's going to be able to put Jesus there. And it's fascinating to see how we keep coming back to Isaiah chapter 53, because during the Easter season, Isaiah chapter 53 works as this prophetic portrait for the Jewish people so that they would be able to recognize the Messiah when he came. This book of Isaiah was written hundreds of years before Jesus even got here. But if you look at it and you read through it slowly, it is absolutely striking to see the similarities between what we were supposed to expect of the Messiah and how Jesus fulfilled it one after the next, after the next, after the next, like a checklist, exactly played out in his trial and in his crucifixion. One of the things that's fascinating, if you scroll down to verse 9 of Isaiah 53, is it tells us that the Messiah would be executed in the company of criminals, and his tomb would be a rich man's tomb. Now that is remarkably precise. And we tend to pay a lot of attention to the detail of prophecies when we look ahead into Christmas time. But as well too, it's there all through the last few chapters, especially of Matthew. If you look at the references, prophecy after prophecy after prophecy is fulfilled. And this one that we see just very quickly is right there, that Jesus would be killed beside criminals, and that his tomb would be that of a rich man. This reminds me of what we can learn from today. There are days, there are seasons, there are times in a Christian life where it doesn't feel like really there's that much that's happening. There's not really anything big or important that we feel like it really matters to us. You might even feel like that is the way things are like in your life right now. We're kind of in this stuck phase. There's not really anything going on. There's not really a whole lot that we feel like we can do. This is kind of a bit of a write-off for time. I just want to remind you, there is no waste of time in God's world. There is no time ever that does not matter or have God's hand at work in thousands of ways in your life. At any given time, we're probably aware of 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 ways that God is currently at work, or we can kind of trace his hand or see his hand at work in our own lives. But the reality is that he has his hand in thousands of different situations and narratives and places in your life. But we simply lack the capacity to be able to see it. Today's memory verse speaks on the topic of time. What happens when, by faith, you receive Jesus as your Savior? Well, it has an impact for a long, long amount of time. John 11, verses 25 to 26 says, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. As you receive Jesus by faith, as you receive Christ in your life, you will never stop living. That is an amazing encouragement, hopefully, that each of you take today as we consider the tomb that is the picture of our lesson today for Holy Saturday. You know what? I just want to close by encouraging you this week. Take a moment to think about the different ways that you perceive God's hand at work in your life for today. And after you've thought through how you see God's hand at work in your life today, maybe on a piece of paper, just give some time to think about it, how you've been able to see and perceive God's hand at work in your life in the last 5 years. And spend some time today in prayer, thanking God for him not only working in your life in innumerable ways, but because of Jesus, he is going to do something someday that is going to be an incredible forever work in which he will be bringing you into eternity with him. So thanks for listening in today. Thanks for checking us out today, either on our Facebook page or on YouTube. And we look forward to seeing you guys for Easter Sunday tomorrow on our Facebook group, Facebook Watch Party. So I look forward to seeing you guys, and can't wait to see you. Enjoy your Holy Saturday today.